y'all? What it is, what it do? It's your girl, Brittany. And make sure y'all click the link in the description box below to become a paid member on my Patreon. All right, y'all, let's go talk Dollhouse. So I ain't gave y'all Dollhouse in a minute, but shout out to my bookie who sent it to me on my Instagram. Baby, she sent it over. She said, we want to know your thoughts. And they came very quickly. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I did sit through the whole interview. It was very rough. Sent through that whole interview though. I'm not gonna lie to you, they were not aligned. Whether it be the girls or Armon, they was not aligned at all. It was, as I would say, hard to watch. Very much so. It gave nail scrubbing the wall. Okay, it was really hard to watch. The girls absolutely came on there very guarded. I definitely think he was asking all the wrong questions. Like, good questions to be like woke and be educated, but the girls were not receiving him whatsoever. They was not receiving him. So let's just start off with how he came in. So to me, he came in like with big energy. He was giving the girls their 10s. He was complimenting the girls. He definitely did his research on the girls. He was very well educated on them and, you know, just who they were, how they move. And, you know, he just told his overall experience with watching Now That's TV, his faves, and how big of a deal this was to have a all trans show. Now, let me start off by saying this. I'm going to renege on a statement that I made about Barbie a while ago. I don't necessarily remember all the wording that I used, but it probably was something like this on how Barbie didn't need to be at the podcast and how, you know, her storylines were very weak. When we talk about like the overall show, her storylines were very weak, and I just didn't feel like she should have been on the podcast. I'm a renege. Because I definitely think she should have been there. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a renege on my statement. Also, let me add this in too. The first group of girls were JB's, Akasha, and Joyce. No, ma'am. No, absolutely not. Akasha and JB's should have been last, or they shouldn't have went. And I get it. They have bigger platforms. They're more known, etc., etc. But when it comes to the show, it shouldn't have been Akasha and JB's being the first girls to be interviewed. No, ma'am. If anything, even though Jaylani, I'm finna dog Jaylani. Jaylani is finna get dog walked bad. Jaylani, Michaela, Ari, Persuasion, just to name a few of people that I felt like deserved to be the first in the chairs. To me, because they were really the stars of the show. Excuse me, if we being honest, if we going off Ari, they counted her out. She came in, did her ones, and still gave looks. Jaylani being down the big bad wolf, coming in, running her ones, being real messy at first, because in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, when Jaylani hit the scene, I wasn't really feeling her. Throughout the show, I started liking her, and, you know, so on from there. Michaela coming in, being Joyce's security, and, you know, breaking down to us what she is. Like, you know, she say she don't want to be a woman, she want to be this, she want to be that, you know, all that. And then just to her relationship with Joyce, how that came about, you know, all that good stuff. I would have loved to heard that. Who else I said? Joyce, Jaylani, Ari, Michaela. Yeah, I hit all my people. And Joyce, obviously, because she's the host, she's been on Now That's TV for the longest, obviously. But to me, those should have been like the first people. And then, you know, the next group of girls. Then swerve on them. Whoa. Then you bring JB's and Akasha. But honestly, they shouldn't have been number one. Again, like I said before, I don't know who be over there making these these decisions. They gotta get their ear to the streets. Cause I could have told you that was a big no-no. That was a big no-no. If anything, that was disrespectful, in my opinion, to the women who've been here the whole time. Yes, JB's woke it up. Yes, Akasha woke it up. But they didn't wake it up enough to be first to be speaking about the show on the show and then do the whole time on the show. Absolutely not. First question is, what do y'all want the audience to take away from the show? Joyce's answer, and mind you, all three women have a different answer. So Joyce's answer is, for them to know that it's more to us than fighting and beefing. Honestly, her answer was trash, and of course we know y'all are more than just fighting and beefing, but this show is not supposed to cure cancer. You know, this show is not revolutionary in the sense of making people look at y'all different. This show is for pure entertainment. Y'all are doing nothing but fighting. When y'all wasn't fighting, we were bored. Yeah, you know, I felt a way about Savannah and her implant popping, and I wanted her to be okay. Yes, and everything like that. And I totally understand it, and I enjoyed that. Not like enjoy seeing her in that type of pain, but you know, just the process, making like seeing now that TV, make sure that she gets some help and go to the hospital and everything like that. But besides that, sock-a-thon. Shout out to Cassie. Sock it out. Get in the field. What are you talking about? Like, what are we talking about here? Again, like I said, this show is not supposed to cure cancer. This show is not supposed to make people look at y'all different. To me, the show gave educational with entertainment. I got to learn a lot through the girls talking on interviews and podcasts and panels. But I also got to see the girls fade. And I enjoy seeing that. Fade it out, sock it out. So then we move on to Akasha's and her answer. And I thought her answer was a little interesting. I'm not going to lie to you. So hers is saying that we are normal, be seen in a better light, and not a science project. Now, the science project thing to me really spoke volumes because, mind you, I don't walk in their shoes. So I'm not saying that I know what they go through and everything like that. But I can understand, you know, people not understanding the transition, the mindset and everything like that, and are more curious in the details of the transition versus the people. I can understand that, and I thought that spoke volumes when she said that. That really stuck out to me. I highlighted it in my notes because I was like, science project. Like, I can see that because it's not necessarily new to us, but people are still exploring it and understanding it and becoming educated on it. And I definitely think now in 2025, like, girl, I have my PhD in TikTok University, and you know, it just helps you get a better understanding of the world that we live in and people are not just black and white. It's definitely a lot of, if anything, humans are gray areas. We are not black and white. We are gray areas. So I definitely thought that answer was interesting. Now, moving on to JB's answer, I think her answer was the most real or truthful and straightforward and blunt answer, in my opinion. Like, I definitely thought her answer was the one that I was looking for, and more like, thank you. Exactly. So she ends up saying she had already watched Now That's TV, so she knew what it was going to give. She knew that she was coming there to be the drama, to fade, to fight, to get down where she was mad at. I said, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. She ends up saying the exposure of the show is educational. But we know what we came here to do. We came here to pop the trunk and turn up on these dogs. And I felt that because I felt like the other answers were so, like, no, don't get me wrong. With Akasha's, like I told y'all, highlighted the science project, but I definitely felt like her and Joyce's answer was full of it to an extent. Like, be for real. Like I said before, we are not curing cancer around here. It is now that's TV. Regardless of what you identify as, it's a fighting network. That's the foundation of it. That's what it is. If they try to expand upon that, cool. We've seen them expand upon that. We be like, where's the fight? You know, we see that. We see that all the time. Some of us are like, oh my gosh, cool, that's so fun. But we came here for them to bang. So these answers of like lives are changing, kind of cringe, but I'm with JB's the most. Now, after that question, to me, everything else went downhill, honestly. That's when I really started to feel like the girls had a guard up with him. And not only that, I think it should have been screened a little bit on how they felt about Armon. Did they already know who Armon was? How he gives it up? And who is he outside of talking about Nicki and Cardi and the rap girlies? Like, who is he outside of his profession of doing music and covering the Diddy trial? Because, again, like I said, the girls had their guard up. And I think his questions were good, but also they were rage bait questions. And it's the common questions that T-girls usually get. And I think by that point, it was kind of like, to me, they here to talk about the show, not what's going on in the world, and not about the trans community overall. A little bit, it felt like they were off topic. I think if he would have did one-on-ones with the girls and got a feel for the girls, and then, you know, he just asked the questions, I think he would have got solid answers, or answers that would have came off as if the people wanted to be in the room. But it was given they didn't want to be there. Honestly, that was the energy that it was giving off. And he kept saying, you know, I'm trying to get to know y'all. But with him trying to get to know them, I don't think that he got a feel for the personalities, honestly. I think, you know, after he asked his questions and everything, he definitely got a feel for their personalities. Because they was coming off very, not hard, but the wall was up and you could tell, and I felt the wall even through the screen. But he was trying though. But like I said, I felt like he was asking rage bait questions, and not only rage bait questions, but questions that they often ask about. So I'm gonna give my honest on some of these questions too. So he ends up asking them, you know, do they care about what people think? How was it when they you know, came out, transition? What do they think about the political politics right now, and how they feel about trans women? How do they identify themselves as a woman? I put in my notes that he kept bringing up biological women, and that really bothers me. When they talk about trans women, they all of a sudden have to bring up biological women too. That's very, very annoying to me. That irritates me down. He also asks, you know, could you bring your man around another trans woman? You know, how do y'all feel about, you know, being comfortable with your man around somebody that look like you? The girls were, for the most part, starting to stick together on certain questions, you know, because, like I said, it was very rage bait questions. So another question that he had ended up asking them is, you know, how do they feel about T-girls exposing men and talking to DL men? Now, this is my thing right here. I think one of the biggest reasons that trans women and biological women fall out is all over a man, honestly. Because men gonna do what they want to do, and instead of women on both sides holding men accountable, they just go with the flow and get into it with each other. And that irritates me. Not only that, what be irritating me so bad is all these questions about the men's. That irritates my soul. I hate when the girls are trying to be girls and we bring in up the men. Like, who cares about these men who are finding themselves? Nobody cares. Now, personally to me, if I'm going to do kitchen table talk with y'all real quick, I love when they expose the men. Because as a biological black woman, a lot of times it's black men who are DL and, you know, they'd have been had kids with these women. And these is women who, you know, are heterosexual and are not necessarily want to experiment in that lane or interested in being in that lane. And instead of them going out getting somebody like a Rolly, because Rolly said that she likes stuff like that. She wanna do that type of stuff for her man. She's open to explore those options. They get with women who they know is heterosexual, or, you know, they put black women in a space where they, you know, expose them to sexual transmitted diseases, or, you know, just expose them to a life that they didn't ask for, more so. And for me, I'm very passionate behind that. And as y'all know, if y'all been on my channel for a long time, y'all know I'm passionate behind that. So I love when they expose them. If he not comfortable with himself yet, oh well, I'm no shade. Oh well, he got to figure it out, and don't figure it out through women, especially biological women who are not into that or are not interested in that lane. And also too, don't be using trans women to figure out what you like, unless you be upfront in the beginning and say, hey, I don't know, I'm just experimenting. If men were more open and could walk in their truth, and not even walk in their truth like every day, hey, I'm this, but walk in their truth as far as being honest with their partners and honest and open about being interested in doing different stuff or living their life a different way, girl, the world would be a better place. The world would be a better place, truly. But that is something that bothers me. And, you know, I've discussed this many of times where I think that's the biggest disconnect when it comes to biological and T-girls. That's one of the biggest disconnect, if not the first disconnect about the men. And one thing that cringes me is, you know, like I said, he was asking these Ragebait questions, and it was like, they're not here for that. They are here to talk about the show. No shade. Honestly, I want them to talk about how Jelani beat Makai Love. You know, I want them to talk about who had the best looks, who had the best wigs, or whatever. I don't want to sit up here all day long and talk about the men's or what do y'all think about biological women. To me, like, as a biological woman, and mind you, they speaking their truth. They definitely are speaking their truth. But after a while, if you hear the same thing over and over and over again, you start to don't really care and want to fade that out and get to the next question or turn it off, to be honest. Because it's like, oh my God, like, how many times we going to ask the same question? Like, ugh. You know, I don't be want to hear about that. I be wanting the girls to talk about what need to be talked about. I wanted to stay on topic. And honestly, I think a great question would have been about the reads. Let me tell you something. I get on the Playboy panels. Mind you, the fans read last week or this week on the panel. They read so good. But when I tell you, I've never seen nobody clear a bitch like they did on Dollhouse panels. Bitch, these girls come in, clocked in, ready to clear. And one of the best readers who used to be on them panels was JB's. JB's used to clear a damn room. Clear these hoes on the panels. When I tell you entertained, it was better than the show. It was better than the show. London When Ari cleared London that day, cleared her. Like, girl, when they clear. Okay? It ain't maybe it's Maybelline, baby. They are clearing these hoes. Okay? Clear skin. All right. Enough about my rant. Let me move forward. Now, let's move on to Jaylani. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Out of all the girls, Jaylani rubbed me the wrong way during this interview. I don't know how he was able to deal with her. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Because Jaylani was just overwhelmingly rude and aggressive. Passive aggressive, definitely. But she was sassy and rude for no reason. She came in already with a stick up her ass. I don't know even how he was able to be bothered with her and keep it professional. I know now that TV paid him a pretty coin. Don't get me wrong. I know they paid him a pretty coin to come there and do what he do because he has the name, he has the background to do this. But when I tell you, she was rude for no reason to him. She was very rude. Very rude. Very rude. And usually when you see Jaylani on panel, she come in, hey y'all, da da da. You know, Jaylani, you know, all that, Lunny Bunny, everything. Again, it was hard to watch. I don't even know how he was being bothered with her because she was doing a lot for no reason. And even with YG was another one who got on my nerves. Him and her started kind of going back and forth a little bit, but he played it real good. He thought he was going to key her, but she keyed him. She wasn't playing with him either. And they started going back and forth. He told me, so, I was just trying to see something. Yeah, no, you was doing a lot. He seen that the girls wasn't feeling him. And mind you, his energy was high. Like I said, he came in, complimenting, giving the girls their flowers. The girls' energy was low. Like, you could tell none of them really wanted to be there. And you felt it. You very much felt it through the screen. I thought I started getting tired as I was watching. And like I said, I had to put it on 2K speed. I'm like, girl, let me run through this real quick because this is no way. But YG ended up saying that she prejudged him because he was getting into it with Nicki Minaj. And I don't know if she's a barb or whatever. And I do understand that because sometimes I am too, depending on the drama. But I do love me some Nicki Minaj. Y'all know I went to a concert last year. But anyway, she said that, you know, she had already felt the way because he was popping it at Nicki and, you know, all that. So with that, she came in already not feeling him. I personally feel as though YG definitely was the comedy and the laughter and the jokey one out of all the girls. And she did keep me laughing. But if you don't see YG confessionals, you'll forget that she there. And I think out of all them, you know, they gave YG an opportunity to go up there and like give a little more. But again, the group was just, it was whack. I would feel like out of their group, because it was YG, Pookie, and Jaylani, Pookie did the best out of all them. She was semi-warm to him. And, you know, she read the room like, okay, they not taking this as an opportunity. They taking it personal. Like, I'm sitting with Armon Wiggins. Like, he's a big brand on YouTube. Big brand on YouTube. Got his own thing going on. Got his own platform. I'm trying to push my music. I'm trying to push everything I can. And I agreed. Wholeheartedly. By them just sitting with Armon, views was going to come in. Armon has a big fan base. A big support system that rides with him from YouTube to Twitch to Twitter. He has a big fan base. So the fact that I feel like a lot of the girls missed the mark on this when it came to sitting with Armon. Armon, in my opinion, if they would have took it for what it was, which was business, and came on there and good personality, you know, y'all followers will be up. Y'all can do more. Don't get me wrong, that's gonna come just by being on now that's TV or whatever. But y'all could have expanded y'all audience. I definitely think that, you know, everybody don't know about Now That's TV. Everybody don't necessarily watch Now That's TV. Even though I'm committed, y'all committed to living in Now That's TV where everybody and their daddy don't watch Now That's TV. A lot of people have not ever heard of Now That's TV. And I remember even watching one of his videos earlier today. He shouted Now That's TV out, letting it be known like, hey, I did an interview over there, da-da-da. And I'm sure a lot of his people who knew nothing about Now That's TV, who never cared about Now That's TV, went over there to see him do his interview. And a lot of y'all missed y'all opportunity to sit and promote yourselves and get y'all clout and get everything you need out this interview because y'all tired, irritated, easily annoyed and ready to go. But that's all I got for y'all in this one. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I love y'all. See y'all in the next one. Bye.